So NIO just published this very interesting data, and it relates to swapping profitability. It also pokes jabs at hybrids and EREVs, and it really showcases why battery swap is the superior method of getting energy to your vehicle, more so than gasoline, more so than charging. So they said battery swap is invincible when it comes to long range travel, and especially during holiday season that just happened. With a massive increase in battery swap orders, the average time duration for swap from when the order is placed, when the car is 200 meters away from the swap station, to when the swap is completed and the car drives out, that time in together average out to about 9 to 10 minutes. So he attached two charts. First chart is the usage at non-highway battery swap stations, and it shows that they have an average of 41 orders per swap station per day. Absolutely fantastic numbers. High usage. And this, by the way, was at the peak when the vacation period just started. So you see those two peaks? That's people going out of their home city, and then the other peak is them coming back to their home city. Lots of battery swap usage. And even at the peak, the maximum time it takes from ordering the swap to finishing the swap is only 10.09 minutes. Massively convenient. Very, very nice. And then the second chart, you can see these are only highway swap stations. And highway swap stations get about 27-ish orders per day at the start of the vacation period, and goes all the way up to 42 average orders per swap station per day. Absolutely amazing. The usage of swaps is very, very high. And even with such high usage, they've managed to maintain the entire duration under 12 minutes from order to completion. Some of these orders, of course, include, this average time includes the waiting time if there needs to be some waiting time. So absolutely incredible results. And then the last chart, this chart shows the total number of swaps. We got the dark blue, which is the number of highway swaps, and then the light blue is the total number of swaps during that day. And we can see that on October 5th, we got up to 78,000 swaps per day. That's absolutely insane. That's hard to comprehend. And of course, lastly, they had to poke fun at charging and also EREV hybrids. They said for NIOs charging at highways, for those NIOs that charged at a NIO supercharger, NIO power charger, the average time spent is about 30 to 40 minutes. That's according to their statistic. And then for hybrids that charge, hybrids and EREVs, and those quote-unquote popular ones, and I guess you guys know which ones are the popular ones, that spent time at the NIO power charging station, they charge on average 50 to 60 minutes. So they spend even longer time at the chargers than NIOs. And of course, this is all to prove that NIOs are much more supreme than the other guys. Whether it's only charging or you're a hybrid, you're going to spend more time charging. So this is all fine and dandy. 78,000 orders per day. It's very, very good that NIO did not make swapping completely free. And keep in mind, the average order amount is pretty interesting because NIO CEO said in the past it takes about 30 orders, paid orders, for a swap station to become profitable for the day. And it seems like the number is getting up there. So whilst I don't think that during this holiday season that swapping was profitable because they got rid of service fee, but I think in the future going forward, we are definitely heading towards profitability for these swap stations as well. It has essentially become the most convenient way of getting energy for your vehicle compared to pumping gas and also charging. And I've said this multiple times, NIO's charging business, NIO's power business is probably one of the most underrated things for NIO because they have the most number of chargers out of any automobile company, and also the most number of swap stations out of any automobile company. And beforehand, I would say, this is their moat. They don't earn any money off of it, and that used to be my old statement, but we are now approaching to the point where this is their moat and they are going to earn money off of it. So I'm sure that when Q4 numbers come out and you have the Q4 revenue, battery swap and charging is going to contribute a much larger portion than it did back in Q1. Now, a very interesting possibility that I'm seeing here is, of course, selling the cars might not be so profitable, very low margin, maybe potentially at a loss, which they are experiencing right now, but then you get a lot of money from battery swap. Sort of like how a lot of other businesses do it. Sell the product at a loss, but then the service fee keeps on getting you money, and in the long run, it becomes hugely profitable. Sort of like how printers sell you the printers at a loss or very cheaply, but then the ink cartridges generate a lot of money for them. We could be looking at something like this as well. And right now, excluding this holiday season, normally NIO charges 30 or 50 RMB service fee for the swap. That is just extra money that goes to NIO. So about 4 to 7 US dollars in extra service revenue for every swap. And that doesn't include any of the extra money that they earn from electricity difference. For example, they might be getting electricity at 1 RMB, but then they're selling it at 1.3, something like that. We could possibly be moving in that direction. That would be pretty interesting because you are seeing that battery swap is actually replacing charging for a lot of people. For me, I haven't charged in 1.5 years. Battery swap is the primary way for me to get energy, swap and go. So in this aspect, perhaps NIO reinvented the gas pump, and that's how they're going to be making most of their money, not by selling cars, but by doing battery swaps. That's a very interesting avenue to look at things. And this is why they're also vigorously building out so many swap stations. They're at like 1,940 swap stations right now. Absolutely crazy. And yes, they're spending a lot of money to do that, but it's all placing down the infrastructure, getting that out there. It's investment, all right? And as the number of swap stations increase, I mean, it becomes more and more of a bigger reason to buy a NIO because you have a dedicated way of getting power, whereas for most other guys, charging may not be exclusive for Tesla. Some places are exclusive for Tesla, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to fight for chargers with other guys. You got to compete with them. Whereas battery swap right now is exclusive to NIO, becomes a bigger reason to buy a NIO. I talked to a friend today, and that friend, she thinks she's leaning more towards buying a NIO after seeing how many swap stations NIO has all around the country. Having it on the highways, having it everywhere, just makes EV transportation so much more convenient. I think for the first time ever, I'm seeing a potential profitability path via battery swap as well. So this is very, very nice. What do you guys think about profitability from swapping batteries, selling the cars at maybe a loss, maybe a slight loss, but then earning a ton of money from battery swap? And it just, because you have to swap, right? So it becomes recurring revenue, recurring revenue, recurring revenue. What do you guys think about that? Let me know. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.